everyone, it's Di here from Di's Den, and I'd like to show you how I made this card. This card stands up on a stand like so. I did this because the card that I saw like this, and it was quite some time ago, was just a pocket, and I don't like a card that you have to stand up against, you know, like a shelf or something, so that it can be displayed. I like a card that will stand on its own. So that's why I've put a stand on the back, but it's actually called a ribbon pull pocket card. How clever is that? Look at that, how clever. Now I'm going to show you how to make this, and I'm going to be using some old and new products together, but let's see how we go. So I'm going to use these two dies here out of the Stitch So Sweetly. They're still available. The rest of the set is not. And this one's in the annual catalogue. It's called Tidings and Trim, and we're going to use It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year for the front of the card, and wishing you a joyful Christmas and Happy New Year on the inside of the card, and one of these stockings. And this actually comes with dies, and so these are beautiful dies. Oops, done it the wrong way. Beautiful dies here, stockings and some beautiful stars and some holly, and it's just absolutely gorgeous. I've used it quite a few times already, and I've only had it just over a week. So that's what we're going to be using. I'm going to be using some older ribbon. This is from last year's catalogue, but I still had this ribbon, and I just thought it went really nicely with what we're going to be doing, so I'm going to be using that ribbon. And also I have some of last year's that I never used many of. There's Told Tidings glitter enamel dots, so I'm going to use some of these green ones on here. So, and my paper is from last year as well. But we're going to get on and make this, and I love it. I love the way you could put a gift card in there, anything you like. So we're going to do this. I'm just going to go and get my corner rounder because I left that over on the other side, so I'll be back in 2 ticks of a lamb's towel. Told you, here we are, I'm back again. So let me tell you what we're going to need. There's quite a few pieces, so, and you have to make sure you get them in the right order. So let's see. So for our main card, we need a piece of card that measures 5 3/4, and the reason you need to make it that tiny little bit shorter is because you've got your knot on the top of your ribbon here, so that needs to go into the card envelope. So 5 3/4 by 8 1/4. And then for my front panels, you're going to need a piece that measures 5 5/8 by 3 7/8. And then my DSP layer that measures 5 3/4, oh, 5 1/2, sorry, by 3 3/4. Now for my piece on the front, I've got my 2 layers here. Now I've done them out of some scrap, sorry. Unfortunately, oh, I've got this upside down again. Unfortunately, I'm not sure what this size was. So this was, so 3 1/2 by 4 1/2 will get you the first layer. So let's pop that over there. And my white layer came out of a piece that was lying around here just now. Oh, there we are. I think it's gone under there. So my white piece, which is looking a bit worse for wear, would come out of a piece that measures 3 by 4 and 3 3/4. I've already cut out my stocking, so that came out of a piece of card that measured 2 by 2 1/2 to get that out of. So that's for the front. For my insert, you're going to need 2 pieces of card, one that measures 5 3/8 by 3 3/4, and then the layer which is 5 1/8 by 3 1/2. And then for my stand on the back, we need a piece that measures 5 1/2 by 3 7/8 of an inch. So that's everything we're going to need. I'm going to need some other bits and pieces, you know, like double-sided tape. I find is easier for this project, but other than that, everything else is what we normally have. So we're going to actually going to score our main card on the long side at the 4-inch mark and the 8-inch mark. And that's all the scoring we're going to do. So let's pop that out of the way, and we're going to fold and burnish all of these score lines. Now for me, I like to put a piece of double-sided tape along the bottom. This is why we don't have such a tall card as well, because you're going to need to have a little bit sticking out the top. So we're going to pop that along the bottom there, like so, and just pop that down. And then I'm going to pop some glue over the top of that tape because it helps to make it nice and stiff, and then along this edge here. Okay, let's just move that out of the way, and then we're going to close that across over onto it, and that's our pocket done. So before we get too far along, what we're going to do is I'm going to just put my pin back in here, and I'm going to grab my piece that's for my stand on the back, and we'll pop our stand onto the back of this card. So we're going to score this piece on the short side, on the 3 7/8 side at the 2-inch mark, and that's all the scoring on that piece. So then we're going to fold that over like so, and we're going to just use our corner rounder on the longer part of this piece, because one part is going to be 1 7/8 and the other side is going to be 2 inches on the 2-inch side. So we're going to pop that, and then onto the back of this. Now, because this join is down the side, it doesn't really matter which side you have as the front and the back, and we're going to pop this onto the back here, closer to the top. Now the reason we've done it like so is because we need to put a hole in the top here, so that's why this has got the short side on this side. So let's pop some glue down there and pop that onto there. Oops. Oops. I'm going to pop this as close as possible to the top and the side, making sure you've got your opening at the top, and the reason for that is then you will get your cards standing up nicely. So while we've got this, we're going to push that over onto one side, and then with our hole punch we're going to punch a hole about 1/2 inch down, 1/2 inch, but just before, if you can see in my thing, you can see I can just see my edge of this, and then I'll bring it over just that little bit out of the way, and that's through my 2 layers, but right on the edge of my stand there, like so. So let's pop that out of the way for a moment. We can pop that over there, and we're going to bring in our top layers, and we're going to glue these 2 pieces together. like so. And then we're not going to pop this onto the front yet, but we're going to get this ready. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to pop tape on 3 sides, because we don't want tape across to glue across the top. So we're going to pop tape down either side, and the bottom, and we can pop another piece through the middle here as well. Okay, so we've got all of that sitting on there nicely ready to go. So we can't pop that on yet because we need to do our insert before we can pop that into the card. Sorry, I'm out of the picture a bit there. So let's pop them out of the way and let's do our insert. Now I'll have to remember how to do this. Yep, now I remember. Okay, so we're going to stamp our insert with, I'm using shaded spruce ink, and you don't want to make it too far down, and you want it to be on there nice and straight, not like what I had on there. So let's pop that on there and get that nice and straight. So we're going to pop that about just above halfway. Okay, so that's our insert done. And let's pop that, give that a few seconds to dry, and pop the 2 layers together. And then I'm going to put my lid on my glue before it dries out. Still a freezing cold day here today. I guess it is winter, we have to expect that. So that's our insert done. And the good part about this is if you had a gift card, you could put a gift card down here and just put it on with a couple of glue dots or something and still write your message at the top here. So what we're going to do next is we're going to bring in our card and we're going to use some ribbon. So we need about 20 inches, and we're going to pop the ribbon through this hole in the top. So let's see if I can get it through there of our card. So we can pull through a fair bit, because we can adjust that in a moment. And what we're going to do once we've pulled that through there is we're going to open this up, make sure our ribbon's nice and straight on the inside of that card there. You can see that so that it's not tangled up. And we're going to pop our insert into the card and push down. You see that? We're pushing that down into the inside of the card. So, like so. I think that's right. Yep, must be right. It looks right. If it looks right and it feels right, it must be right. That's what they say, isn't it? Okay, so we don't need all this ribbon now. So we can pull this back. So we can now pull this up a bit, and we know we're not going to need all of that ribbon. So let's pull that back again and double check that. Push that back down in there again, once again, so that you know that you've got it. I don't want it to go too far down. And then we can chop this piece off like so. Cut that bit off there too, because it was a bit frayed. Pop that ribbon out of the way, and we can tie this off on the top of our card. Once we've tied that off, you'll see that you can now pull your card and it will stay there. How clever is that? I love it. Great idea. So once you know that's right, you can tie that off nicely and then trim these up how you want them. so that the recipient knows that they have to pull on those. Well, now that we've done that, we need to make sure that this edge here, oh sorry, I'm out of the picture again, this edge here is at the top, because we don't want to have our card not being able to move, our insert. So the ribbon needs to be able to slide. See how the ribbon slides up and down in that spot there? So we're going to pop our tape off on all three of these sides and across the middle here, and then I'm going to put a bit of glue on these because it gives me that wiggle room still, and it makes the tape stronger. So we can put a little bit of glue down here and around here, but we don't really want to make it so tight that we can't move. And we're going to pop this onto the front of our card like so. Now this is I did quite a small amount of card around the edge. So once we know that we've got this down nice and tightly, we can double check this again. Look at that, how gorgeous is that? And it pulls out and back in nicely. Our card's going to stand up. This is going to add over the edge, but once you open it up to put it in the post, it won't. So it might look funny being over the edge on this side, but when it's laid flat, normally in the post box, it will be correct. So let's bring in our front panels and our ink, and we're going to stamp our, it's the most wonderful time of the year. Along the top there, and then I'm going to glue my two panels together. Let's just give that a few seconds to dry. Oops. Now I'll pop my pin back in there because I'm pretty sure we've finished with it. So now we're going to bring in our dimensions, whatever I've done with them. Here they are. And pop them onto the back of this card piece. And pop this onto the front of the card like so. And then I'm going to pop a couple more onto my stocking. And pop my stocking onto the front of the card like so. And then we'll bring in our nice green dots here, and we might as well, I think we'll use the middle size ones here. And that's our card. Wow, what do you think? My first Christmas card for the year. Oh, I've stuck that on a bit wonky, haven't I? Look. That's better. That's a bit straighter. Now, so what do you think? What a lovely idea. Put a nice gift card under there if you wished, and it stands up gorgeously on the bench top so that it can be viewed by anybody, and it folds it down and flat into a normal size envelope, and that's a great idea. Now if you would like the written tutorial for this card, please head over to Diane for Stamping, Crafting and Tutorials on my Facebook group. You'll find the link down below. If you've enjoyed this card, please give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. If you've never been here before and you like what you see, please subscribe so that you don't miss out on any other projects that I do. I usually do one a week. So I look forward to seeing you again next week. Bye for now.